It seems the Reform Party may be trying to cheat the upcoming Gorton and Denton by-election. A resident in the constituency shared this image of a letter they received through the post. So in the letter, a Patricia Clegg, who claims to be a 74-year-old pensioner, claims that she used to vote Labour, but Labour has let her down with tax rises, and she claims it cost us £160. She then goes on to talk about the Green Party and says, I understand some neighbours who have had enough of Keir Starmer are thinking of voting Green, but I do not believe the Greens have answers to our problems. They have extreme policies like legalising drugs and letting men use women's changing rooms. What good will that do to people like us? At the end of the letter, Patricia says, voting for reform is the best way to kick him out. After a time of voting loyally, I feel I have no choice but to vote for Reform UK on Thursday, the 26th of February. Please think about doing the same. I mean, just looking at the letter before we get into it, there's no branding on it. It's printed in a way to look like a genuine letter. It's obviously trying to be misleading, right? So how do we know this is actually reform, though? It could be anyone. Maybe someone's impersonating reform or trying to get reform in trouble. Well, we have confirmation that this is official campaign material. Now, the resident noticed that on the envelope it says Hardings Print Solutions, Middlesex. So we know it's not a real resident, but again, what actually links this to reform? Well, our very own Callum Taylor decided to call up Hardings Print Solutions, and this is what he found.
Good afternoon, Hardings.
Hi there. I'm just wondering if I could speak with Patricia Clegg, please.
Patricia?
Please.
Oh, we don't have a Patricia here, I'm afraid.
Oh, right, okay. It's just I've received a letter that's got your address on the front claiming to be from a Patricia Clegg.
Right. Okay. No. What's the contents of the letter? Can you tell us? Or?
Yeah, it's relating to the by-election in Gorton and Denton.
Oh, the Reform Party, is it? Yeah, so we're the printers, so we mail out on behalf of the Reform Party. So.
Oh,
yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah, that's
so
all we do is we print the letter and we send it out on their behalf.
Okay, so is that official election literature then that's been sent out? Is that what you do for them?
It's official literature that's created by the Reform Party and sent out by the Reform Party. And it's sent to people on the electoral register.
Okay, it's addressed, yeah. It's signed from Patricia Clegg, that was all, so I just wanted to...
Right, yeah, I'm not familiar with the content, so you'd have to, yeah, any queries on the content need to be directed to Reform Party, because we're not responsible for the content, obviously.
Wonderful, not a problem. Thank you very much then, really appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks, take care, bye-bye.
Ooh, caught in the act. Caught in the act. Very, very polite from Callum. Just inquiring, is there a Patricia Clegg? Now, they've been caught, right? It's confirmed it's official Reform campaign material. Reform are sending fake letters from potentially fake residents in order to try and manipulate people into voting for them. Now, of course, campaign material doesn't need party branding, right? Even though it's manipulative and I think it's morally wrong, you can make a fake letter to make it look like it's real without the branding. However, what isn't allowed is an imprint. They need to have the imprint on the campaign material, which they didn't, and that is illegal. So they've broken electoral law. Now, this has been referred to the Electoral Commission, and they say it's now a matter for the police. The Manchester Mill reached out to the party, and look, it's their right of reply, so we are going to show you what Reform have said in response. So Manchester Mill made multiple calls to Reform's local campaign team in Gorton and Denton, but got no answer. We asked them via email if they funded the printing and distribution and whether they agree the lack of party imprint constitutes a breach in electoral law. The party said it commissioned a letter from Clegg with the full and correct legal imprint, but it has since become clear that an error occurred during the printing process due to a production failure by a third-party print supplier outside of Reform's control. The legal imprint was inadvertently removed at the point of printing without our knowledge. At no stage did the campaign know about authorise or intend the distribution of material without a legal imprint. The omission arose solely from a supplier error after compliant materials had been submitted and approved. We will be providing further updates on Monday. Now, Manchester Mill also reached out to Hardings, and this is their response. Following publication, a spokesperson for Hardings sent the following statement via Reform UK. Hardings Printers has identified an error in the production of election leaflets printed and distributed on behalf of Reform UK for the Gorton and Denton by-election. We take our responsibilities in relation to election material very seriously and take full responsibility for this error occurring. We apologise to Reform UK and the voters of Gorton and Denton for this error. Okay, so that's their claim. That's what they're saying, but just want to point out that's not hard evidence. Now, we don't know if they're lying. They could be telling the truth, but that's just their claim. But, I'm giving them their right reply. But are Hardings, are they just acting as a fool guy? I mean, how does a printing error leave off conveniently the part which shows to the people it's official party campaign material? Of all the things that didn't get printed, the imprint didn't get on there. I mean, look, they went to the effort to make it look like a real letter. So my personal view is, I don't fucking buy it. It's bullshit. Okay? That's just my personal view. I think that Hardings is being the fool guy. And either, there's two scenarios here. One, they just didn't bother putting the imprint on there, thinking, we've got loads of money, we'll just pay the fine, because at the end of the day, it's the political damage that matters. Or two, they made a genuine mistake and they forgot to put it on there and they're trying to backtrack, and maybe Hardings have taken the fall for it. That's just my theory. Now, I've actually got a message from one of our producers. Well, actually, it's from Ben McLean. He said to read this out. It's quite important context. In terms of fines when it comes to electoral law, there used to be a cap. That cap has been removed. Now, the size of the fine is relative to what they pay or they can pay. So a fine for a small printer will be relatively small, but it's in the benefit of Reform to blame the printers, as if Reform get fined, they just receive £9 million donation. So what that means basically is now the fine from electoral law isn't based on a particular number or cap, it's on ability to pay. So if you're an organisation with loads of money, like Reform, who receive £9 million in donations, the fine could be higher. But a printing company, not very likely to make as much money. So potentially they could be paring it onto them because it's less of a fine. Again, I'm not claiming that's true. Just say it's a theory. But I also think it's in Reform's interest to do that, okay? But again, I don't have any hard evidence, it's just my opinion. Kevin, I mean, illegality aside, the fact that they printed a letter to make it look like, poor old Patricia Clegg, I'm a local pensioner, in the way it's written, I think is disgraceful. And let's be honest, kind of shows Reform as nasty bastards, doesn't it?
Yes, lies, damn lies, and imprints. This story is another example of the underhanded tactics of the Reform Party. It's not the first time they broken electoral rules. Of course, Nigel Farage himself was found to have overspent in the previous general election in Clacton, which is ironic given that he's never there, so he's not even getting value for money in that sense, but whatever. And nothing happened, because nothing ever happens. The Tories consistently overspend at every general election, and they get a slap on the wrist and nothing more. Electoral law in this country it's sort of like the do not tumble dry label on a piece of clothing, in that it has absolutely no enforcement mechanism whatsoever, and therefore has absolutely no authority or meaning, frankly. Nigel Farage and his people are some of the most underhanded, snaky people in British politics, which is really saying something. This was obviously a case of them trying to get around the rules, of trying to not brand a thing that they wanted not branded. Okay, I don't buy it for a second that this was a printing error. This is obviously a case where a company want to get further custom from a customer, and therefore are essentially willing to take the fall in order for essentially what would amount to a kickback, i.e., we'll give you future employment on the basis of you taking the hit on this one, because, like you say, they've just been given £9 million, and under the new electoral rules, could be fined quite steeply. So basically, it's a way of legally, but not necessarily ethically, dodging that by paying the company in future employment, etc., etc. They really should be fined massively for this. It's so obviously the case that Mrs. Clegg, if she even exists, which again needs to be looked into, and well done, by the way, to Callum for doing more investigative journalism in one phone call than the British media seem to have done on Nigel Farage in the last 30 years now. If she even exists, is being used as a kind of a fake person, even if they do exist, because they're trying to make this look like a real letter when it's obviously not a real letter. It's obviously a party political piece of propaganda that they try to get away with under the guise of not imprinting this is being printed on behalf of blah blah blah, who is the election agent of blah blah blah, which you're supposed to put on every piece of official election material, which they didn't do. They're just breaking the rules constantly, because that's what fascists always do. They've never followed the law, and they don't intend to follow the law because they intend to corrupt the law when they get into power, which, by the way, the Labour Party are already doing by getting rid of juries, hence the first story, etc., etc.
I think this shows a problem with our electoral law. Like, let's just say that reform did include the imprint on it, right? I think it's illegal to try and manipulate people into thinking it's a genuine thing, right? Yeah. The idea that as long as you can add imprint onto the campaign stuff, you don't need the reform logo or party logo, the colours, nothing. You can still pretend, like, isn't the point of saying you have to have the imprint on there to say that it's a party political campaign leaflet? Yeah. Then why are you not requiring to visibly show that it's obviously a campaign leaflet? I mean, clearly it's designed to fool people. So I think this goes beyond just the Reform Party. Our electoral law that allows that is insane. I think every bit of campaign material should at least have a logo. And it's kind of like in America when it's like, I'm Bernie Sanders and I endorse this message, right? Why not have something on a bit of... Shut up. Why not have something on the campaign material that says, this is a Green Party campaign leaflet? Just like on TV broadcast. This is a party political campaign. It's wild to me.